Hello, coin collectors out there. Welcome to the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And today we have live from the DC Coin World headquarters in the backwoods of Maine a live version of the 1979 coin set collection. And as you can see, we have three of them here, the P, the D, and the S. Of course, the S isn't a proof set. We haven't broken it out because we didn't have a broken proof set of 1979s. So we'll look at it in the proof set. But what I'd like to tell you is that it is live for sure here. And it is May 9th for sure here. And it is snowing outside on May 9th in Maine. And some parts of Maine are going to get 3 to 5 inches. And we are just ready for spring already. If there wasn't enough to go on already with the COVID-19 epidemic, we also have weather and other stuff going on. But let's take a look at the coins because maybe we can get away a little while. And I know many of you don't even get to use coins anymore, and people are worried about using coins. So let's just take a look at these coins while we can. So let's start here with the 1979 Philadelphia coin. And in 1979, of course, Philadelphia still didn't mint marks on their coins. And there we go. There we are. That kind of fixed the viewers, right? Okay, so if we look at it, we see that it says Liberty at the top, 1979 at the bottom. In God we trust here. And we look back here, and there is absolutely no mint mark on this coin. And that's because Philadelphia, the P mint mark, hadn't been put back on yet. If we look at it, we see that it is a copper nickel clad copper coin. We tip it up on the edge and we can see the copper. It has a reeded rim, which is essentially what these lines are here. And then if we go over onto the back, we see that it has the American, we call it the American Eagle, United States of America at the top. It says E pluribus unum here. And E pluribus unum, by the way, means out of many, one. It's a Latin phrase, and the out of many is the e pluribus, and the unum is one. And essentially, it says we've united, many states together have united into one country. And that's probably a good sentiment for these days. $quarter down here at the bottom. We see at the bottom of the eagle, in his claws, is a sheaf of arrows, and the arrow end here, the feather end here, and there's a little ribbon right above the pen that binds them. And then down here, this foliage here is actually olives, two olive branches entwined, kind of an olive wreath type of thing. When we look at these coins, what we look for in the valued coins is just how much of the feathers and body feathers we can see here, how much of the ribbon we can see at the bottom, whether you can see the heads of the arrows and the feathers of the arrows. And in this coin, you can see this coin came from pocket change, and it is not in great shape. So that's a Philadelphia. The D coin from Denver from 1979 is kind of infamous or famous for having these D's that you can't even tell what it is. It just looks like a blob. Some of these occurred at the mint. Sometimes we call them filled D's. So this is actually a D here for Denver. And either at the mint or over time or both, they get kind of all smoothed out and you can't even tell. It looks kind of like a square with a, I don't know, drop of water on top at this point. Um, Same exact um, front, of course, as the Philadelphia Mint. It says Liberty at the top, 1979 at the bottom. This is a John Flanagan engraving on the front, and he engraved it a long time ago, but this particular coin series started in 1965 when they went from silver to the copper nickel clad copper. And again, we see the copper there, and flip it over and we see the same reverse on this coin. Now, at the Denver Mint in 1979, they made a lot of these. They made 5.75 million, 575 million, I'm sorry, 575 million of these, 635 million of the Ps. So between the two of them, they made about 1.2 billion of these quarters. The pocket change US quarter is never going to be worth anything more than a quarter. In fact, if you look on the listings, Numista and places like that, they'll give you 20 something cents if you have a bunch of them. So go out and spend them if you have the 1979s after you get your P and after you get your D, and try to get the fill D and a regular D if you can find one. Go out and spend any more that you get. All right, what do we got here? This is the 1979S. And as you can see, it comes in a proof set. And this was a great year because it's the first year of the Susan B. Anthony. We see there's a Kennedy half, there's a Susan B. Anthony, and with the Susan B. Anthony's, you see that the S is behind her. Then we have the Jefferson nickel and the Lincoln penny. And the Lincoln penny is indicative of something that happens often in these 1979 proof sets, and that is that there's two versions of the 1979 proof set, the kind of smudged version, which they made most of, and a type 2 version in which the letters are clear. The S's are clear. And as you can see in this one, this is not the clear S on this Washington quarter. But look how beautiful that quarter is. And look at the colors you can get when you kind of tip it. Same thing in God We Trust. They do two different finishes. The finish on George Washington's portrait, actually, you can see is kind of a pewter-like finish, and the finish on the rest of the coin is kind of shiny. If we tip this up, we can't see the edge. What we can do, though, is go over on the back, because in the proof sets, they set it up so you can just flip them over and look at the back of them. Now look at that. Now when I said you can judge these coins by the feathers on the eagle, and let me get the light a little bit better on that, you can see all the body feathers on this eagle right now. Look how amazingly detailed it is, and you can actually see them coming down from the neck. You can see this little tuft behind the head. You can see the beak and the eyes. This is a really fine value quarter. Um, Again, unfortunately, because the S is smudged, this is considered a type 1 quarter and probably only worth $2 to $3 in the 1979 version. If you get the type 2 quarter, it could be worth, $8 to $20 as MS65. What does a type 2 quarter look, and can we compare them? Well, I do have a type 2 from 1981, which was another year that they smudged. And so let's look at the 1981 S versus the, see how defined that this is of course the 1981 type 2, see how defined that S is right there? That's just way better. This actually has a little bit of doubling to it, so it might be worth even more. And then we look at the S on this one, and it is just kind of smudgy. And if we, no matter how we tip this one, it's a little bit smudged, and you can actually see the outline of how the, when they went to imprint it, it kind of made a square on there. So the 1979 Type 1s, quarters, S quarters, are not worth too much. The 2010, the 2020 U.S. Coin Digest puts the 1979 Type 1s at the whole set, the whole mint set at about $6.50, which isn't great because they sold for $9. All right, so that's about all we have today from the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. It's not snowing quite as much as when we started, but once again, welcome to spring in Maine. And as they say in many parts of the country, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute. Well, we can see that snow comes in May 9th in Maine. And there's the S for the 1979. There is the smudged D, and there is the Philadelphia with no mint mark. Thanks for watching, and we'd love to have you subscribe to the DC Coin World International Coin Channel.